And Jabez, y'all remember now, his mama has called him Pain. So I'm just gonna read it as if it was in Hebrew. And Pain called on God. I'm gonna say that again. And Pain called on the God of Israel. This is Pain. You ain't supposed to be asking for this kind of stuff. Pain's prayer to the God of Israel is, oh, let the church say, oh, oh, that thou would bless me indeed. That means keep on blessing. He says, and enlarge my territory and keep me from all evil, that it may not grieve me. And the Bible says that God granted him that which he requested. Let me break down this prayer for you real quick. Here it is. In this prayer of prosperity that Jabez, Pain prays. Pain makes a supernatural request. He says, oh, that thou wouldest bless me indeed. Indeed means overwhelmingly. In other words, I wonder if I'm talking to some people in here today that believe that God can overwhelm you with blessings. Anybody ever been overwhelmed with blessings where door after door after door opens? All of us have lived through seasons where God overwhelmed us with blessings. He says, oh, that thou wouldst bless me indeed. And then he says this, he says, and thou would enlarge my territory. It's a supernatural request, but it's also a specific request. Not only must you pray supernatural prayers, but you have to be specific in your request unto God. You have not, because you ask not. Enlarge my territory. Jabez says, Pain says, Lord, bless me, Pain, indeed. Overwhelm Pain with blessings. I want y'all to get this thing today. That Jabez is not living down to his mama's expectations for him. She only expects pain to come from Jabez, but Jabez is praying a prayer of prosperity. Overwhelm me with blessings, but then he says, enlarge my territory. You know, land. You know, during that time it meant a lot. It was valuable. It's still valuable today. And he asked God to bless him indeed and enlarge his territory. Here's what Jabez is really doing. This is deeper than just a man asking for prosperity. But this is also the picture of a man that's trying to reverse the family curse that has been passed down to him. I need to preach to some real folk in here today. See, because all of us came into this world with some family stuff that we inherited. So some of us look like and talk like and walk like and act like and have some of the same habits that not only our parents had, but their parents had. And their parents had. And their parents had. It's just been this passed down generational curse that they've been going, their families have been going through. Maybe it's poverty, where poverty has been the generational curse, or maybe drug addiction, alcoholism, gambling, lying, whatever it is. All of us have some generational stuff in our families. All of us have some stuff in us that we inherited that goes beyond what we look like. Jabez has inherited a name called pain, but he refuses to accept pain as his fate. Somebody here today, you've been in pain so long that you've gotten comfortable living in pain. You've learned how to dance with pain and get along with pain. Pain has become your best friend. You learn how to live with it. You've become numb. You've gone through so much, seen so many traumatic events, gone through so much hurt, been abandoned so many times, been let down so many times, been disappointed so many times that you've accepted your fate as what you've gone through. Jabez teaches us that you can pray your way through your generational curses and the stuff that you have been limited to in your life. Now, there's somebody in here today, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've gone through it all. You've seen it all. You've been the lowest at the lowest of the lowest. And you can testify today that if it had not been for God pulling you up out of that thing, where would you be? That there's some folk in here today, you were not smart enough, you were not wise enough, but your mama was praying for you even when you weren't coming home. And look at you now, you're in the Lord's house because God has brought you through it. Here's what I'm trying to say, that whatever you're going through, God can break it and God can bless it. I like Jabez. I really do. Because all of us have some Jabez in us. All of us have some labels that have been put on us. All of us have been called some names that really aren't our names. All of us have people in our life, and perhaps even family, that have bad perceptions of us. All of us have some Jabez experiences. But I like Jabez because he prays his way up through his experience. He prays for God's prosperity despite his name being pain. But lastly, the third principle, and I'm done, is that Jabez prays for God's presence. Sometimes we want to separate the prosperity from his presence. We say, Lord, bless me indeed, but we don't ask the Lord to let us walk in his presence. We want God to bless us, but we don't want God to break us. We want God to give us supernatural experiences, but we don't want God to take us through some suffering times where he has to walk through us with it. Jabez, pain, praise for prosperity. He does not accept what people are saying about him. That doesn't matter to him. He knows how God feels about them. And you should too. Know how God feels about you when you walk out of these doors today. Pray big prayers. Don't live down and pray down to their names that they've given you. Pray big prayers. And I'll tell you what's going to happen. God going to give you big answers. It's the last part of verse 10. And God granted him that which he requested. In other words, God answered his prayers. Oh, that thou wouldest bless me indeed and enlarge my territory, and that your hand might be with me, and that you would keep me from all evil, that it may not get me down. And God answered his prayer.